Hi, my name is Kylie Brubaker, and for my service learning project, I went to Water Street Mission in Lancaster City. So, more about the story of Water Street Mission. Water Street started in 1916. There was a group, Dr. Ezra Siebert and his wife and Sarah Coons, they were meeting like a little Bible study for a few years, and after a while they decided to feed the homeless of Lancaster County. These meals, the people who came to the meals, they would pay 10 cents for those who could pay for one meal, and then it would be free for those who could not. Then later, a few years later, in the 1920s, actually 1921, they opened the shelter then as well, and that's kind of where it all began. So why Water Street? Why did I pick Water Street? Water Street serves the homeless in Lancaster County. They provide food and shelter for people who don't have those things or have trouble getting them. Not only that, but they provide free health services, counseling, events for teens and children, different things that they can go to. And they also provide classes, free classes for the residents or the guests to attend to learn from. Another reason that I think Water Street is really neat is that when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you see that in order to become a better person and to grow as a person, you need to have the basics taken care of. Things like food and shelter, to think about relationships and other things like that. So Water Street helps these people with their very basic needs so that they can grow and continue to become better people and hopefully be able to provide those things for themselves at some point. Another reason that I picked Water Street was that I really wanted to serve my local community, and I liked that it supported my own personal beliefs and the belief systems that Water Street does have. The population at Water Street serves all ages. They have elderly, they have men and women, they have teens, they have children. They have women who are pregnant and expecting children. Really anyone and everybody is accepted there. These people typically don't have jobs or homes or are just having difficulty putting food on their tables. So, like I said, this population has a lot of needs, and those needs include food and shelter. And those are the basic needs that need to be met. But then on top of that, a lot of times this population has struggles with addiction and mental health or physical health, as well as social difficulties or just difficulties with their spiritual health. So all of these things are some needs that they have as well, on top of that basic needs with food and water and a roof over their heads. And when these things are addressed, then hopefully when the addiction and mental health and physical health things are addressed, hopefully these people will be able to get out of the situation that put them without a home or without food or something like that. People can stay at Water Street for the short term, just for a few weeks, or they can stay for the full year and experience all that Water Street has to offer. So the role in all kinds of different social, political, economic, and cultural issues of the population. As far as social issues, there's a lot of different ones, but I would say some of the biggest ones that stick out to me are that they're in different living conditions and they're separated from their family members sometimes. Sometimes they can't, if you have a mom and a dad and children, they can't all be in the same place because men can't be sleeping with women because they have big rooms for all the women, like a women's dorm and a men's dorm. So that can make it difficult to have to split up families like that. And it's just a different social situation for them. Not only that, They lack a support system a lot of the time, so that's something that Water Street can provide for them. Water Street can provide that support system for them. Not only that, but while I was there, I was able to help their social situations by spending time getting to know them and building different relationships with them and just showing them that, I really care, and so do all the other volunteers, and they're worth our time and they're worth our effort and they're worth getting to know. As far as political, one of the biggest things that I thought of was that when I'm able to volunteer and other people are able to volunteer our time and our money and food and things like that, then these people who have all these needs are less dependent upon the government to have these needs met. So if we can meet them, then the government doesn't have to meet these needs. For economic needs, like I said before, there's needs for that food and the shelter primarily. So Water Street meets these needs by providing food and donations and looking for volunteers that are willing to help, as well as providing different healthcare services and dental services. And not only that, but job searches so that they can find jobs and get out of the situation that they're in. When it comes to cultural issues, there can be language barriers. A lot of the residents could speak Spanish. That's a pretty common language for them. Can make it difficult to communicate, as well as different religious beliefs. Some of them may not have the same religious beliefs and ideas that Water Street does. And hopefully these people and residents would still be willing to spend time at Water Street to get back on their feet, but that can be an issue for them. And food preferences could be another cultural need that they have, getting out different food for these different types of people that are spending time there. The description of the project. So how? The school required to spend at least 30 hours volunteering at a place. So I applied through the volunteer portal online on Water Street, their online site. And then I attended an orientation session that was just an hour long, and they took us on a tour. It was there that I met Heather Ross, and when I met her, I kind of discussed with her some different opportunities that I could have as far as my service for Water Street. I explained how I was a registered nurse and how I would really like to maybe get involved with their medical services since I have that background, and she told me she knew more about the dining hall and kind of explained to me what the dining hall was and what volunteers did in the dining hall. And after I talked to her, I decided that I thought it would be a good idea to just volunteer in a different area like the dining hall, just to be able to spend more side-by-side time with the residents or the guests that live at Water Street. So, like I kind of alluded to before, I worked in the dining hall at Water Street. In the dining hall, I did things like food preparation before meals for the following days. I sorted food, bussed and cleaned tables, took trays from the guests after they were done eating so that they wouldn't have to get up and throw things away. Talked and ate with the residents before some of the meals were served. The ones that I got to eat with the ones that were working that meal, so it was cool to sit beside them and kind of get to know them and their story. And then I also spent some time serving food to the residents during the meal times. So I had 3 different objectives during this service learning project. The first one was, by the end of the service learning project, I will identify 1 social, 1 emotional, and 1 physical need of the homeless population in Lancaster County. The second objective that I had was that I would serve the homeless population at Water Street through serving food and bussing tables for 30 hours collectively by May 11th. And the third one that I had was, by the end of the service learning project, I will identify 3 resources for a nurse professional to use for the homeless patient in different hospital settings. So how I accomplished that first goal of identifying one social, one emotional, and one physical need of the homeless population in Lancaster County was I communicated with the full-time staff at Water Street as well as with the residents to kind of see what are the common needs that they have. One of the biggest social needs that I found was that they needed better influences in their lives. And one of the biggest emotional needs that I found was a stable environment. And then on top of that, lastly, one physical need that I found was food, shelter, or doctor's visits. So how I met the second goal, which was about completing my volunteer hours in an appropriate time, I picked one day every week to spend some time volunteering. And this allowed for my hours to be completed in a timely manner. And then I was also able to meet various different full-time employees, which was really neat. How I met the third goal of finding 3 different resources for a nurse professional for the homeless was that I communicated with the staff members as well as my own personal online research. The first one was Water Street's phone number. That's a great resource for the homeless in Lancaster County. And second was another one that they really recommended was the homeless hotline, which is just calling 211, and that can get the homeless a lot of different resources in one shot. And then the third place that I found was the Milagro Homeless Shelter, which is another shelter that they could contact. Some revisions or considerations that I would have for this project would be that there would be more orientation hours with required shorter shifts in combination with an attempt to work the same shift on a weekly basis. So like working every Tuesday morning from 7 to 11 so that you kind of get to know the staff and the people that work every Tuesday morning, the residents that work every Tuesday morning a little bit better. I think it's a better way to get to know people rather than spending a short amount of time with random people all throughout the week. As well as during food preparation, making assignments with the residents. So sometimes during food preparation, they would set me up with a staff member or set me up by myself doing some type of food prep. But it would be neat to work with the residents on something as a way to get to know them a little bit better. Goals and reflections. So as far as the population, how my project impacted the population was it helped provide food. I worked side to side with them, developed relationships with them, and even got to provide education to one of the residents about her pregnancy with my background as a nurse in labor and delivery. As far as personal impact, really the list should be much larger than this. I'm just really grateful for all that I have and have learned that homelessness doesn't have a look. And there's such a stigma with it that shouldn't be there and that I'm trying to kind of tear down for myself and the people around me. It also reminded me to keep giving of my time, and I was really encouraged by the residents and the staff members that I was able to work side by side with, and I'm looking forward to continue to work with. In a professional way, how it impacted me was just knowing different resources and being able to tear down the stigma in healthcare settings, and being able to speak out for these people, as well as feeling like I can better educate them because I can see kind of where they come from. Not that I've been in their situations, but we do get patients from Water Street where I work, and so it's nice to kind of be able to relate to them in that way and be able to educate them from a different perspective. So thank you very much for your time.